Hi, I hope you had a very happy Easter. It's Tuesday morning now, so yeah, I'm very rested for sure, and it was a good time we had over Easter. Very relaxing, very chilled out. I'm a self employed person, I work for myself, so obviously the last thing I'm going to do is go anywhere at Easter. I mean, that's just not what we do. Why would we go um, joining all those queues? However, um, one of the things that I have been thinking about over Easter and giving a lot of thought to and doing a bit more research, it's been on my mind for quite a long time now, seriously on my mind for quite a few months. And I was actually watching some videos and doing some reading from um, Vicky Spratt, uh, who is the journalist, and listening to what she was saying about it. You might recognise that she was actually the person who um, helped get the not landlord fees, letting fees abolished. I'm not really sure how much good that did, really, for all of the amount it was, apart from the fees that were just being taken advantage of by agents, of course, but that's rogue agents, not the letting fees in as such. But, anyways, to my mind, it's just a very small amount of money compared to what you're paying per year, so whatever. Dare I say it, possibly, and in light of what's going on, but we don't hear much about this. But how would it be if a landlord had to reach certain criteria before they could be a landlord? And we're not just talking about the building and how it's set up and the safety tests and gas tests and electricity, things like that, but also the fit and proper person to be being a landlord, um, financially capable of being a landlord, having the funds to do repairs and things like this, the hoops that people have to jump through to become tenants uh, in these days is quite significant. It is very stringent, and I'm not saying anything against that, but I just sort of think it is a little bit one-sided. I speak, of course, from the side of being a landlord and a tenant. So that's just what came to mind. The one thing that really is concerning me more and more, and it's another one of those problems that is just getting kicked down the road all the time, and yet is reaching an absolute insane level of seriousness, I think, is the fact that there are not enough homes being built in this country, and the fact that we've got a lot of people on the street who, personally, I'm not so sure just how homeless they are. But one thing I am completely aware of and do recognise the issue, and that is the amount of hidden homeless, and this is people who just don't have proper homes or have inferior homes that they're living in. Of course, we've got this influx of immigrants and or want to be uh, citizens of this country coming from war-torn parts of the world, etc. And in all honesty, I think we should be utilising the ones that are being given the ability to be here and giving them a step onto the ladder of life in this country, so to speak. So the thing that really, I'm not really interested in um, the the politics of the whole thing, or the whys and wherefores of the social system and things like that. What concerns me is the fact that we need a lot more houses. The government does put a huge amount of money into it, and yet we're not getting any more houses. Now, what I'm trying to find out is if this is just a bit of a front and indeed nobody really wants to see more houses, or are we just so incompetent as a nation that we are trying our best to put houses into place and they're not working? I suspect it's a bit of a combination of several of these reasons, and the fact that obviously there's interested parties who push what is benefiting them and don't bother pushing what isn't really going to do a lot for them. So one of the things that is very clear to me is the fact that physically building X amount of houses is not beyond us whatsoever. Physically building X amount of houses at scale and building them so much cheaper per square meter is completely possible. And so utilizing land, or not so much, well, certainly not Greenland, I don't agree with that, but brownfield land and also space. And we hear a lot about London and the amount of space that's supposed to be available in London to build dwellings is huge apparently, and so I just wonder why on earth this isn't happening. I am aware of certain housing, whether there are housing associations or housing entities that are literally paid lots of money by the government. They're profit-making businesses, from what I can see, or maybe not profit, but everybody just gets paid, which is very dubious in my way sometimes when there's not necessarily a performance behind it. And so you've got offices of people that are paid to go out to the public rental sector, rent a house, and put somebody in it, and it just on the LHA, the local housing authority, dollar, pound. So that it really concerns me that we need such a specialist entity getting so much money to just pick up a phone and rent a house. But anyways, one of the things that I do think is possible is that, as I've said, those houses could be built and they could be made available. And I just think of all the massive positives for us as a country if we were putting these people in proper housing. Education could follow after that, possibly, if it's required. But regardless, I don't want to get too deep into social issues. I just want to figure out how to build houses. And so that's something that I've been thinking a lot about. I am going to communicate more with certain people, Vicky Spratt being one of them, and a couple of other people that she mentioned. But one of the things, if anybody's seeing this or knows anybody and has a genuine interest in just trying to be part of the solution rather than just grumbling about the problem, then by all means get in touch. We need a team of people who understand and know the machinations of how to get there to be able to get something done about this, because the actual building of a lot of houses is not a difficult thing. Getting the space to do that with, there has to be a deal with local council, as myriad and labyrinthine as I'm aware of their situation being, but there has to be something that can cut through this. So we have quite a few ideas, and we'd certainly like to get our feet wet in this subject and see what we can do, because it's something that needs doing and it's a glaring requirement. So I just cannot understand why nobody's stepping forward and getting this problem solved. My name is Mark Graham. My company is called Finding My Palace, and we supply investment properties to cash-rich individuals.